And so when you are so used to brokenness, you cannot celebrate wholeness. What do you do when your abuser is a family member? Hi. I think there are three things that jump out at you when you listen to the Monique video, and just the three things that have to do with life and relationships that I really want to point out. And I think the first thing is the lack of celebrating Black families. I think it's becoming a malignant issue. Is becoming a big problem, I think, in the Black community, where when a man stands by his wife, people question his dedication to her, his protection of her. People tend to want to talk about broken families but do nothing about it, right? And celebrate and uplift whole families, a man and a woman who were standing together and sticking it out and supporting one another and making sure that each order get what is due them. It is mostly the Black community that have a problem with it.
To see her that broken, what our community was saying was, we have a hard time, some of us, we have a hard time seeing a strong Black woman with her back straight and a chin up and a strong Black man standing by her side. We have a hard time accepting that, but we can accept seeing a Black woman broken. Now it's really serious because she's falling apart. Our community had a hard time with those two things. And when I would hear people say, why is her husband there? Why is he there? It's a sad day when we're questioning why a Black man would stand with his Black woman. So when you hear Black women saying we're the most undervalued, disrespected, underserved, mistreated, violated, exploited, we get all of that. Then you see a Black man standing with his Black woman saying, not on my watch. And you hear some Black men saying, why her husband gotta be there? We're in a sad state of affairs when we begin to question Black love and Black unity.
And so it says a lot about the decadence and the decay within several Black minds, and there needs to be a mindset shift and change so that these things can be. I remember Sierra and Russell and how people always say he's a simp because he's supporting his wife and being by her side and making sure that the family looks whole and well. And so when you are so used to brokenness, you cannot celebrate wholeness. I'll say that again. When people are so used to brokenness, it's difficult to celebrate wholeness because misery loves company. The second thing I want to talk about is dealing with toxic families. Now she talks about, I believe she alleges that one of her brothers had abused her while she was growing up, and that after she won the Oscar, of course she was hot, she won the NAACP award, Image Awards, and of course there were so many people wanted to chime in on that popularity of hers. And Oprah called her that the brother had reached out and said he wanted to talk about what happened, and she called Monique. Monique said yes, go ahead. But Monique said she never knew that her mom and her dad were going to be on that interview because she wouldn't have wanted them to be part of it. He should have gone on there and said whatever he wanted to say or apologized or whatever it is, but not having to put his mom and his dad in that same light.
Well, my relationship now with my family, they're my biological family, and I wish them well. Especially in our community, we've been taught, take care of the family, make sure, well, there are some families that deserve it, and there are some families that you have to say, listen, I'm so glad we had this time together. And that's it.
You're absolutely right, Monique. My grandmother used to always tell us, she'd say, son, teeth and tongue may fall out, but family never should. And she stood on that. No matter what transpired in the family, no matter how bad someone had treated you, you should never fall out. But hearing you say that, that's different, because just because we're blood, that doesn't mean we're family through blood. But sometimes it's somebody on the outside that's not blood that's actually closer to family than the actual biological.
We've been taught to say trauma is okay. We've been taught to say you mistreated me, you abused me, you violated me, you disrespected me, you belittled me, but I'm supposed to look at you at Thanksgiving and say, how you doing, Unc? That's what we've been taught. You swallow that pain. Listen, I want to live the rest of this journey that I have in peace. I want to be with my family, in love with my man, he in love with me. We watch our babies grow and develop their own families. I don't need anything in the midst of that, because you family that I should accept that trauma. I should accept you not taking accountability for what you've done, what you've said, and we just washed the slate. That's why we're in the position we are now as a community, as a Black community, as a community in entertainment. Everybody's been so afraid to say, look what they did to me.
What do you do when your abuser is a family member, an uncle, an aunt, a brother, even a father? What do you do when it is family that is causing you pain, and very close family at that? I think for Oprah Winfrey, I think it's one of her uncles What do you do when you belong to that kind of, how are you supposed to continue to have close relationships with people who have been part of your pain? You have to make sure that you have boundaries. Do you want to keep going for family celebrations, especially when you know that they are going to be there? And people say, oh, you should forgive. No, but just because you're forgiving someone doesn't mean you have to be in the same environment with them. So if people have hurt you and abused, taken advantage of you, being in your presence has to be something that they have to earn and not something that you just gift to them. The third thing I want to say is there's something in the power of specificity in daydreaming and in making your hopes and dreams and what you want to manifest.
Every job I had, baby, it was special. Let me tell you something. I worked at the drive-thru in Popeyes. It was my microphone. Every time somebody came to that window, I was on stage. Welcome to Popeyes. My name is Monique. What would you like today? And
Did you always know that was Oscar always in the back of your mind? Did you always?
Oscar was never in my mind. I wanted to be famous. I loved what it looked like with people being famous. I didn't know to say, I want to be wealthy with the fame.
Right.
I didn't know to be specific to ask for it, but I wanted to be famous.
A lot of times we use a lot of broad statements, like she said, that she didn't think about Oscars. She just wanted to be famous. But she didn't put a figure to to being famous, because you can be famous but broke. And so when you are asking for things and you're wanting things to manifest, you have to manifest. You have to be very specific in what you want to manifest. I want to be famous. What does that look like? Is wealth associated with it? I want to be wealthy. What does that look like? What does wealthy mean to you? Able to take care of yourself and your immediate family? Able to start a retirement fund for not just yourself, but for other, maybe your sister's children? Are you wanting it for yourself? Are you wanting generational wealth? What kind of wealth are you talking about? When you talk about, oh, I want a God-fearing man, maybe you're a single woman and you were desiring a husband, and you were talking about wanting a God-fearing man. What does that mean? A God-fearing man? Is it a pastor? Someone who goes to church? Someone who's spiritual? Someone who loves the Lord? What exactly do you mean by using this broad statement? You have to be very specific about what you want, because as soon as you start talking about it and being about it, there is a huge chance that you're going to get what you want. So be very specific about what you want, so that when you get it on the other side, it matches what you desired. Just my 3 cents. I hope it helps.